Hello from Las Vegas, a city built on bright lights, big bets, and high stakes. Tonight, all the cards will be on the table. Game 1 of the 2025 WNBA Finals, a dynasty cemented or a rapid rebuild rewarded. NBA Today is live ahead of the duel in the desert, and I am so excited.
Let's go!
Alongside Chiney, Ogwumike, Malika McNutt, I'm Malika Andrews. For the very first time, NBA Today is live here from the WNBA Finals, ladies.
Fantastic.
This is WNBA Today.
Amen.
Okay.
See this right here? This is WNBA today because the stage, it is set two very different paths for these two teams meeting here in the WNBA Finals. Let's just remind everybody how we got to this point. Let's start with Phoenix, shall we? Because this revamped Mercury squad making its first trip to the finals since 2021. Of course, the additions of Alyssa Thomas, Satu Sabally, DeWanna Bonner helped lead them through a really tough path. They had to beat both finals teams from last season to get here. As for the Aces, they are here after, I think we can all say, hitting rock bottom, right? Vegas was 12-13 after 25 games. They rode that 17-game winning streak to help propel them to this third finals appearance in the last 4 years. And leading the way, of course, A'ja Wilson, who won her record 4th Most Valuable Player award. Now, Becky Hammon told our friend Elle Duncan that the word for the first championship, it was new. The second championship, it was dominant. And this trip to the finals, a journey. Well, I got another word we could use to describe it if they actually win this title. How about dynastic? Because Vegas is the 7th team to reach 3 finals in 4 seasons, but to this point in WNBA history, there's only been one to win 3 titles in 4 years.
H-Town!
Yep, it's the
I
Houston
love
Comets.
that team.
They started the league with a 4-peat, so it's a very, very different league that we are talking about the Aces being able to author this sort of run, Monica. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but A'ja Wilson isn't even 30 years old yet, and she has a career that most players spend their entire career trying to chase.
Yeah, listen, I'm so glad in many ways that she was actually able to win all 4 MVPs that she's gotten to this point, because I do think in sports at large, we do this thing where we get bored with greatness. And that has not been the case when it comes to A'ja Wilson, partly because the numbers are just absolutely undeniable, although this year was as close as any of the MVP races. I think the one 2 years ago when she lost was actually really tightly contested. But I also think, you guys, we've talked a lot this week about the comments from Napheesa Collier, and rightfully so. But to have great basketball, a great player like A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces be at the forefront of the conversation about the growth and the rise of the WNBA, I believe A'ja said it, like the best thing to do in terms of the future moving forward is to make sure the product on the floor is this good.
We are here in Las Vegas, and this is the house that A'ja Wilson has built.
Amen.
And I can say this a zillion times. We are witnessing A'ja Wilson become the greatest player of all time in real time. Step 1, check. MVP 4 times over. Joining or surpassing the company of Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, Lauren Jackson. It's wild. All-time greats. And this next step is to win it all.
Yeah.
They're in the WNBA Finals.
Again.
And honestly, the word journey makes the most sense because it was not easy. I feel like this year she was tested, the team was tested. And how did she respond in the moment that needed her the most?
Yeah.
Just the light 35 points.
35, 4, and 4.
8,
History.
5, like assists.
Yep.
You can just see that this journey has been different for her, but it's still the same results.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking a little bit before the show. We don't like to compare across sports, but there are not many people, period, in any sport that have authored a more dominant and more impressive resume before turning 30 years old than A'ja Wilson. However, the journey isn't over. She absolutely expects this to be a series, and she told that to our Andrea Carter.
I think the matchup's going to be pretty neck and neck, but I think it's not going to stop us from just executing and making sure that we are playing, Aces basketball.
So since we're getting closer to tip-off of Game 1 of the WNBA Finals, on the Aces side of things, 3-time champ Chelsea Gray coming off a masterful performance, I think we can all say, in Game 5 of the semifinals. She finished with 17 points, 6 assists, the huge 3 in overtime off of 1 foot to secure another finals berth here for Vegas. And I had a chance to catch up with Chelsea yesterday. Here's our conversation. She's a 3-time WNBA champ, and she's going for another one. Chelsea Gray, thank you so much for joining us here. I just want to start with this team and searching for your identity. You struggled to stay above 500 midway through the season. I was just listening to A'ja Wilson and to Becky Hammon talk about the difference in this journey. When did you know that this group could make it to the finals?
Man, it's been a process. I was just talking about this like a few seconds ago. My 3 words has been like trusting the process. We went through some hard stuff and some uncomfortable conversations, some uncomfortable film sessions and games, right? I don't know if it's like a specific day or a moment. Obviously, we went on that run and that streak. And so we started to form those habits, actually putting wins behind our words and what we had been practicing and preaching. We didn't know while we were going through that and those ugly moments, but it was building us up for something better.
Well, Asia gave you a lot of compliments after your performance in that Game 5 win. And she also used the word vintage. Are we good with that? Vintage?
I don't know why we use vintage, man. I'm still in this thing.
Exactly. I'm like, hey, let's easy there. But she did. She had a lot of she had a lot of wonderful things to say about you and your importance to this group and this team. It also came with another huge game from the now 4-time MVP. So what can you say about her and the season that she's had? You don't have to call her vintage.
No, I won't call her vintage at all. I think the most impressive thing about Asia, there's just so many, we can be here for a long time. She plays both sides of the basketball at an extremely high level. She's a leader, she's vocal, she tends to her teammates all the time, always communicating, always talking. But what's been beautiful, she's gotten better every year. Like, this woman does not stay the same. The type of person that she is, it reaches far beyond basketball. She's inspiring in all levels. So the type of player and person that she is so gravitating. She has this gravitational pull that you just want to play hard when you're on the court with her.
She certainly does. And she also has an intensity. But I'm curious, you, Becky, Asia, who was the most intense in the locker room?
Becky, 100%, 100%. And then it's probably me yelling, and then Asia like picks her spots, but I'm always like saying something, talking in the huddle. I'm screaming and yelling or directing, taking the board. But I definitely feel like it's Becky. She takes it this year, for sure.
I mean, Becky, even when she was in our studio as an analyst, we felt that from her too. So I understand where you're coming from a little bit on that one. Let's end here, Chelsea, if we could. Winning a 3rd championship in a 4-year span with this franchise, that's only something really that the Comets have done in the midst of that 4-peat in the same kind of period. Where would that cement what we are already calling this Las Vegas Aces dynasty?
It's another level, especially the new age in the most recent years of basketball in general, not even just WNBA, but basketball. Becky always says, you can bring in a bunch of different athletes, people that can get to the rim shooting, but we want to bring in good quality character people. And that's how you make the whole puzzle kind of fit. But it was cement a legacy that you can't take away from this organization. You're always going to remember this run, and people's lives and stuff wouldn't be the same without it.
Yeah, this is not a run that I will soon forget. I'm looking forward to seeing it play out over the course of the finals. And if you have any other like crazy running off of 1 foot 3-pointers that are somehow jumpers, we're looking forward to seeing that as well.
Yeah.
Chelsea,
stay
thank you so
tuned.
much.
Anything to win, man. Anything to win.
See, there you go. We will see you in Vegas. Thank you so much, Chelsea. Good luck. The finals is hanging over all of it. We're really looking forward to that. But the discourse around the W this week, Kendra, it has also been continued fallout and discussion following Napheesa Collier's pointed comments calling out league officials earlier this week. Where do things stand now? What is most important for us to know heading towards these CBA negotiations?
Yeah, there was a call with the players yesterday that happened where they were updated where these negotiations stand, and there has been no movement. There is still nothing to be added to these conversations because they haven't been able to meet in the middle. No side is budging one way or another. And I've been told that the players in the union have been feeling very disrespected by the league when it comes to, again, we come back to salary, we come back to revenue shares. That is the biggest sticking point, and that's the point that neither side is willing to budge on right now. I also think it's super interesting, you guys, later today, ahead of Game 1, we are going to have a press conference with the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, who is at the center of Napheesa Collier's comments. Caitlin Caitlin Clark's response to that. We're going to be asking her questions. It's the first time that we will speak with her since all of this started, so that's going to be a really interesting conversation.
Absolutely. You and I will both be in attendance for that press conference, Monica, as well. Chiney, I'm curious, you were a part of the last CBA negotiations. You were on the board that was putting that together. What is the gulf that you were hearing here from players?
First, not to make light of the situation, but I saw a thread that said, oh, that press conference is going to go triple platinum. It absolutely is. Everyone is going to look to see what Kathy says to respond and to see if they can sort of meet in the middle. One thing that I believe that Napheesa Collier did, she highlighted the fact that there's a big divide between the players and obviously the league and the commissioner. And if you can't have a conversation, how are you supposed to have a negotiation? And this is not something that was just overnight over the course of the playoffs. This is something that we saw at WNBA All-Star, them saying we feel disrespected because of this process. As you mentioned, Malika, I understand how long it goes, and you immediately get your key points. Like, this is what we're fighting for. And if you can't even have a conversation about it, how are you supposed to resolve this negotiation?
Ciao. Listen, all I will say of this, and I think we've all been a part of seeing this role the last 4 years in women's sports at large, you're just not accepting less, right? Like, there's no way that these players now have the mindset of we're happy to be here. We're thankful for a league. We're thankful for opportunity. No, we have passed that. And so ultimately, the two sides are going to have to meet in the middle at some point. But I just think where we are in women's sports, and particularly the women that make up the leadership of the union, they understand. They have been here. I mean, the last CBA left us sort of scratching our head around the policy around pregnancy. And so there are certain things that they are just not going to repeat. And this is so much about the future of the league.
Absolutely. And it's a conversation that's continuing over the course of these WNBA finals as well. Media Day was held yesterday, and although reporters, you reported yesterday, Kendra, you were in the room, were told essentially not to ask questions. That's not the job of reporters. The job of reporters is to ask the questions that public and players want an answer to, and A'ja Wilson answered some of those questions.
The talk is going to be the talk, and we're going to continue to push the talk. And there are many other talks that we need to have, but I'm never going to back down from using my voice and making sure that it's heard for not just me, not just for the W, but for the generations coming up as well. So it does get tough. Everyone's going to always have a say, but we're not going to back down. We know exactly what we've got to this point, how we've earned, what we've earned, and what we're going to go after. But we have to continue to also put the greatest product on the court so they can continue to watch us and we can continue this momentum.
So, Kendra, you were asking some of those questions yesterday. What was your biggest takeaway from what players said?
Look, it's about the WNBA Finals, right? That's why we are here. It's the biggest stage for women's basketball. And Kahleah Copper said, that's what I'm focused on, getting 4 more wins. But best believe, once these games are over, I'm going to be in that room. I'm going to be going full throttle because, as you heard A'ja Wilson say, they understand the moment, right? And they're going to continue to push this forward.
And as you mentioned, Cathy Engelbert will be meeting with reporters in a press conference. It's at 4 o'clock out here in Las Vegas, and WNBA Countdown will be covering that, so you'll be able to hear Cathy's first comments since Napheesa Collier's statement calling out league officials.